What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to what was a lovely day here at Possible Farms. It is Friday, April 18th. We've been, it's been a little crazy. Hannah's out sprawling on the beach. She's just a break, but I've been here. We got our field planted, not without some issues, I guess. So I didn't get more of that. Basically, the switch for the height, so the planter knows when it's up or down, was working, then wasn't. So I finally, got that figured that, it wasn't working. So then that end of that day got rained out, and then along came the next day that the auto steer wasn't working correctly. So I do apologize. It was only like 18 acres, so it's not a lot of beans, but enough. But yeah, we got them in. We were also having a slight issue, probably because some spots were just a hair moist, or honestly I want to say it was more or less moisture issue, more compaction, because we were running, basically you can see in here where we kind of ran over to that other corner for when we pulled out the trees, bringing dirt over because we pulled out the rocks, try to get that smooth. Running around, basically running through here into there to get, just get the trees that we were pulling out up over the hill. Basically what was happening was our 2x2 was kind of throwing some dirt. You can see a little ridge line here, throwing dirt out of the trench, and then basically you can kind of see here, the beans down in there, but the closing wheel didn't have dirt to get it back closed up. So that was one issue we were having. Not a super big, well, an issue obviously, in spots, through here, it's less of a not as good seed to soil contact, might not get as much germination out of there and stuff, so not good at all. But it wasn't a whole lot. You can see kind of through here it planted beautifully. It's just, in these spots, because we're no-till, we just kind of were running over. It wasn't super wet, but just moist enough that just kind of was throwing that. And it's kind of, we could have hit it with the disc, but I don't know, I guess I should have hit it with the disc, but I was in a little bit of a rush, as we all are all the time. So that's kind of that. As you can see where I did the groundhog holes, along the fence line, where I disked, that stuff all kind of came up nice. So yes, we did plant green. As you can see, this is our planting green. It's not very, there's not a whole lot of residue on top. I honestly want to say that I don't know, I guess I shouldn't say anything yet as for if I like having this little bit of cover here early, planting into that. I'm gonna see, I'm kind of thinking it will be good, but basically, so why I'm thinking it will be good is because we did a lot for the beans fertility wise at planting. So we had the in-furrow system and the 2x2. So in furrow we went 5 gallon to the acre Altura, which is a carbon, it's got the fulvic acids. Actually I should look at that just to make sure, but that was our carbon base with some micros. Then we also had Radiate and Accomplish Max. So Radiate is a PGR, plant growth, regulator. Hopefully, that will give us a little boost, get our roots going, get the plant, saying I'm here, let's conquer this. The Accomplish Max is a stress mitigator. I believe I'm saying this right. Stress mitigator. So hopefully, we've had some cold nights. The beans aren't out yet, but some cold nights, you know, hopefully that accomplish will help it to mitigate that stress, you know, being, you know, it's kind of in these not ideal conditions. You know, beans are a little more tolerable with, you know, the variance in weather. From what research has been done and what I've read, you know, that's why we planted them early. That's why we got them in. And then staying on the fertility, that was in furrow. So in furrow, we were like 5.3 gallons per the acre. And then 2x2, we ran 5 gallons to the acre UAN. So it was a 32% UAN. And then 5 gallons to the acre of ammonium thiosulfate. So that's 120026 sulfur. So did that 2x2. And yeah, so that was a pretty heavy load. That should, basically from what research I've read, they say around 30 units of nitrogen at planting is about right. You know, gets the plant going, but not too much nitrogen that you will make it a quote-unquote lazy soybean, because you still want that soybean to put nodules on, make its own nitrogen to, you know, supply itself with nitrogen. If you supply it with too much, then it's like, oh, I don't need to make nitrogen, it's all here. So that's what we did at planting. So yeah, basically, you know, also sulfur now is the big, becoming a bigger, it's like the next macronutrient. So last year in our beans that we had, the two things we were missing or lacking early season was nitrogen and sulfur. So I put that 2x2, and then we should be hopefully be set. So basically I got that planted. Well, I got the first 8 acres planted, got 3 inches of snow, messy, muddy, you know, mess. I didn't go out there. That was last Saturday. Come back here Tuesday. I was able to plant the rest. Then just want to make sure I got my days right. Yeah, planted the rest, and then coming here, today is Friday. This morning we sprayed, and I sprayed you know, quarter an acre glyphosate product, you know, 20 gallons to the acre, you know, total spray volume. And then we did 2 quarts or half a gallon to the acre ATS, just to help with that burn down of the cover crop, you know, hopefully help with some of that, you know, breakdown, you know, nitrogen needs and that stuff. So basically there was a lot at the time of planting of this bean crop. It's only 20 acres. It's obviously expensive. I'm going to do all the numbers. We're hoping to push this. Last year we had about a 56 bushel per acre average, and we're hoping to push this up a little bit. You know, obviously with all the added things, you know, if you put all the things that they say made you another bushel, you'll probably be at 100 bushel beans and just like that. But there's obviously a lot of other factors. What bean did we plant? We planted a 2.9 Enlist E3 bean through Dynagrow. I believe it's Dynagrow. So 2.9, last year we planted 2.6, so a little later. Probably could have pushed it out to like a 3.2 or something, but 2.9 seemed to have the best bushy, not tall bean. So yeah, basically that's everything we did, why we did it. Yeah, now why plant early? So research I've seen has shown that, now I should cite, this kind of sounds like a research paper that I gotta cite, but from what I read, there was a field planted, you know, kind of this time, maybe a little earlier. I believe it wasn't here, I think it was like North Carolina did a study, and they did a study, planted 120 you know, seeds per acre population, got 80,000 emergence about, and then they planted in like end of May, beginning of June, and they planted 140,000 population, and those emerged, I think it was like 138,000, so obviously perfect conditions, nice. Those emerged and yielded less than the 80,000 early planted beans, because it's been shown, I apologize about the wind, it's been pretty windy, but the earlier planting has been shown to stack nodules more. It has more time before, well, it has more time under the sun, obviously more growing degree days, even though beans don't go off of GDDs, you know, to stack nodules. And they also, it's just obviously it's a little slower growing, it doesn't come out the ground as fast, but I think it's just better. Obviously the more sun, beans are more like a sun based, don't quote me on any of this, but this is my understanding, they're more sun based, so it's not necessarily as much temperature driven as it is how much sun they get in a season. So basically earlier planted beans can stack more and bush out more, which we're on 30-inch rows because we don't have a 20-inch row planter. So basically this 30-inch will be able to not lose as much yield in competition, you know, per se, with a 20-inch planting, or that it'll be able to bush out more and be able to keep up with those tighter plantings, tighter rows, and all that. One thing that we didn't do that I would like to, you know, would have liked to do if we had the proper equipment is roll this field. Obviously, you know, being able to roll it smooth, combine heads, you know, get right down with beans to get as much possible beans up as they can. So that was one thing we didn't get to do, but just about everything else is set. So if anybody knows of a roller near us by New York, I'm interested. Also leave in the comments, everybody's saying I should get like a cleft or a notch like the Brilliant Sure Stand. I do like them, but they're not, they don't make a transport with one that, you know, like I've been looking at like Mandaco. They're the big smooth rollers, but obviously they're smooth, so they won't, you know, necessarily like dibble in, because we like to have the roller for this and grass, and they don't have a transport. And with the roads we have, I mean, 10 foot is like crazy, and that's like the smallest transport with the roller that there is. So anyways, that was a lot. Hope you guys enjoyed my little spiel there. You guys have any words of acknowledgement? Wow, I'm losing it. Any words of wisdom? If I messed up anything, if I'm not thinking right, drop them in the comments. Definitely look at those and see. But hopefully here we're just under 7 days for the beans that we're planting first, so another couple days here. I've checked, they have sent out their first little shoot. I should have videoed that, but it's cool to see the beans, you know, they've kind of absorbed the moisture, they're kind of squishy now, and it's looking hot and dry for the next couple days. So I'm glad we got them in. They got moisture out there and they're starting to grow. So yeah, it's supposed to be 80 tomorrow. It's crazy, but we'll see. We'll definitely let you know how it all goes.